A little bit about this horse, but he very young. He's never been ridden, never been saddled. He's never been in this type of arena that I know of, and I'm going to let JR talk a little bit about this horse and what he's going to do with this horse.
All right. Does everybody hear me? Okay. Like she said, he's never been in an arena or a round pen ever. Okay. I spent 3.5 minutes in the morning with him, 3.5 minutes in the evening. So he knows how to yield his shoulders. He knows how to yield his hindquarters. He knows how to back up. He knows how to give me his feet. He knows how to stand a tie. And that's it. Okay, so we don't know how he's going to do today. All right, that's why I've got two of my best assistants with me, Emily Weir and Rebecca Wright. And so they're gonna bring the gear, and basically we're gonna run through this pretty quick. I usually spend about 10 hours on the ground with a horse before I ever attempt to put a saddle on him. Okay, so this is kind of a quick overall how we do this, how we desensitize him, get him prepared for the saddle. Now I'm not actually going to get on him today because he's only 20 months old. He's too young for that, but he's not too young to have a saddle on. Okay, so we'll bring him up here and we'll change halters, and we'll see how it goes. Draw. And he's a child, so he puts everything in his mouth. And at this stage, I normally don't worry about that. I just ask him to get back in here after he swaps. There we go. Okay. He's got stage fright. Okay. On his nose. Being very cooperative, I appreciate that. And thank you. Thank you very much. A little technical difficulties there. All right. If I would have known he was such a movie star, I would have brought him out before this. All right, so I always work with a rope halter. Thank you, ladies. I got it. Oh, thank you. Go ahead and put it over there, please. And I'll ask it. The first piece here I'll ask is for the sticking string. So I always work with a rope halter. The reason I do that is because it puts a little bit more pressure on their nose. The nylon halter spreads the pressure out. And so I want to concentrate the pressure on his nose. So like I say, the first thing that a horse has to learn before I ever bring a saddle into the picture is that he has to yield his shoulder. Okay? He has to yield his shoulder. So I'm ask him to yield his shoulder. As you can tell, he's very cooperative. Okay? I'm going to suggest that he moves his shoulder. I'm going to tell him to move his shoulder. Okay? Then after that, I want him to disengage his hindquarters. I want him to turn his rear end away from me and look at me. Okay? 2 eyes on me. Alright? Like I say, this is not unusual to him, but I've never asked him to do any of this stuff. So like I say, it's a little new for him. And he's trying to get used to the atmosphere, and that's why he gets a pacifier today. That's also why he was brought in with 2 lead ropes, because his new deal is that he grabs the buckle and helps you lead him. It's very helpful, very resourceful. Okay, so once I get this horse to yield, watch me, listen to me. As you can tell, he's very careful of me. I want to desensitize him a little bit, okay? So moving his feet is sensitizing, and the rope over his back is desensitizing. You have to do both. You just sensitize your horse, then every little thing will make him jump. If you just desensitize him, then he will not move at all. So you have to do both. You have to get him comfortable. So before I want to make sure that he's comfortable with things. And again, I'm kind of speeding through all this. This is a much slower process, especially with a horse that doesn't know me. He actually knows me quite well and tries to take advantage of me every chance he gets. So those are all opportunities to train him. So whatever things that he does that aren't correct, I'm happy to show him the correct way. Okay? So once I get him kind of relaxed with something going on his back, get him to quiet down. Again, I'm running through this. I wouldn't even attempt this if I didn't know this horse so well. Okay, so what we talked about in an earlier session, one of the ways that a horse is relaxed is he'll cock that back leg. He's never been in here before, so he's curious about everything going on. But as you can tell, even through all that, he's still relaxed. He's not tense or uptight. And so he's allowing me to kind of throw this rope around him. And obviously his concentration level is 0 at the moment. Another thing that I'll kind of do with him is get that over his head, rub it over his back. So I'm going to put that saddle on him. So everything I do, I want to make sure that his back is not touching anyway. I'll get him to follow his nose, disengage his rear end, and look his face. Okay? If I do one side, I have to do the other. Like we talked about this morning, there's no bridge in between his eyeballs, so he can't transfer information. Okay? All right, so once I do that, let me have my stick, please, Emily. This is not to poke the horse, okay? This is to desensitize the horse. All right? And again, there's some other things that I would do. I would snap this on the ground. I would try to make some noise with it. But what we talked about earlier is always make sure that he's comfortable with our tools. Always make sure that he's not fearful of our tools. This way, please. Thank you. There we go. So again, we just want to make sure that we do both sides. Rub down over him. Ooh. There. Okay. Just like that. Thank you very much. Okay. So saddle pad is the first thing that we want to put on. I want to let him smell this a little bit. Get him comfortable with it. I usually have another horse's scent on him, so he's a little more comfortable with him. If he bites it, it just means that he owns the blanket, that he's not fearful of it. So if he grabs it in his mouth, this will probably be the one thing that he doesn't put in his mouth. I just want to make sure that he's okay with it. Just like that. Okay. Then we're gonna start putting it up. Okay. So I just want to make sure before I try that saddle that I can put this anywhere I want. Now, here's the biggest mistake people make with a young horse. Okay. They want to do this real gentle. Okay. They want to just set that blanket up here. When you start doing that, that horse wants to know what's wrong. Okay. If you can't take that blanket and set it up on his back, he's not ready for it. Okay? So we're gonna put it up here. I spy. As you can tell, he's more interested in the rope blanket. Care less. I want to make sure that I touch him under the belly a little bit. Okay? I want to make sure that he's not what they call girthy. In other words, ticklish maybe. Okay? Sometimes a horse is girthy, but simply ticklish. Okay? A fine-haired, thin-skinned horse sometimes is just ticklish. Okay? I have one right now that I'm working with, and that was his biggest problem was that he was ticklish. Not girthy, just ticklish. And you can hear my telephone. I apologize for that. So I'm just going to make sure that he's okay with this. He kind of thinks that I'm asking him to move away right here. So that's why he's kind of moving from. So I'll just stop him. Whoa. Whoa. So he's a little worse on this side. Okay? So I just want to make sure that I get all that. Okay? I might just throw that up there. Let it sit there for a minute until he stops. As soon as he stops, I want him to know that's the right thing to do. Okay? Instead of using treats, I use rubs. Okay? So every time a horse does something correct for me, I'm going to rub him. Because if you use treats, you're using the reactionary side of their brain, okay, not the thinking side. So I want to make sure when I'm up in that saddle, I have a way of letting him know that he's doing the correct thing. I don't care about knowing or letting him know he's doing the wrong thing, just the right thing. That's all that matters. I try to ignore all the bad behavior, and I try to compliment the good behavior. Okay, let me have the other blanket, please. Give it to her. Come on. Pick it up and give it to her. We ain't got all day. There's tape rolling on us. Come on. Give it to her. I took it. Oh. Get her. She didn't say thank you. There's all right. All right, so basically the same thing. Let him investigate it a little bit. Again, if they kind of bite on it, that's my brand new blanket. Please don't tear it up. Then that means that they're comfortable with it. So I'm going to kind of do the same thing with him. Just throw it up there. Make sure he's okay with it. Then I'm going to just leave it up there. Okay? I'm going to rub it. I do a lot of rubbing. Okay? I want that horse to know. Get off me. I want that horse to know that rubbing is a good thing. I want him comfortable. All right. Yes, yes. Okay. Here we go. Bring me the saddle and the small black girth strap. Okay. So this is the same thing. Pressure and release. Okay. So I want to make sure that the horse knows that I'm going to leave this on him forever. Okay. So I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to take it off. And I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to take it off. Come back, please. We're not done. There. Okay. Ooh, easy. There you go. All right. And again, this is very accelerated because of our time restraints. Bring me the girth strap. Or the blank strap on me. Yes. Yes, you want you on. Okay. Can you put it on for me? Why don't you put it on and buck yourself out. I'll go sit and stand and walk. What do you think about that? Can you handle it? Same size as me. All right. If I can have that, please. Thank you very much. Whoa. So again, since he's never had a saddle on him, we don't know what's all going to fit him. So we may do a little trial and error here. Just kind of see. Oops. Thanks for handing me that the wrong way. Appreciate it. All right. There. So if I don't know, the way I'm going to check it is I'm just going to set this underneath him and look for this buckle about in the center of him right here. He's a little bigger than I thought he was. Whoa. There you go. All right. Thank you. Just stand right there. Don't move. All right. Now here's the critical stage. I want to make sure that this horse knows I'm under there. Okay? Horses don't like surprises, and neither do I. Okay? So I want to make sure this horse is knowing I'm doing it. So I'm going to run my hand down this leg, if he doesn't take a chunk out of my rear end, and I'm going to rub underneath his belly and let him know that that's coming. Okay? He'll probably try to move the other way, so I can't get it. He's so helpful today. I appreciate all of his help. All right, so down this inside leg, I'm underneath here, rub it a little bit. Okay? Get your head up. Get your head up. Get your head up. Oh. You get big fella. And again, I would do this much slower. Okay? Take much more time doing this. This is just kind of an accelerated little demonstration here. And it'll give Titan an opportunity to not only get used to the saddle for the first time, but maybe even show off for the crowd. All right, so when I tighten up a girth strap, I tighten it up in at least 3 stages, especially with a young horse or a horse that's very first in the saddle. Good. The idea of what I do is to never get the horse to buck, okay? I don't want to have to ride one out. All right? Don't jump on me. So if he doesn't buck, that'll be fine. If he does buck, that will be fine too. Okay? So like I say, this is very accelerated. He's never had a saddle on his back. I spend 3.5 minutes in the morning and 3.5 minutes in the evening. Okay? This is the ideal situation. If a horse is handled correctly, shown boundaries, shown responsibility, shown what to do, they shouldn't be a problem for the first ride. Now, he's obviously a year away from me getting on his back. But by the time I get on his back, I'm hoping that we can get on and move forward without any incidents. So part of the deal was, when I took on this young horse, was to show people if you're going to raise a horse, it takes those 3 things: patience, persistence, and practice. It doesn't take hours and hours out of your day. I don't know hardly anybody who doesn't have 7 minutes a day. If they're going to have a horse and they're going to ride that horse, if they don't have 7 minutes a day to teach a horse what to do. And it's quite simple.